Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
The energy revealed. Brooklyn to Queens, reppin' both hoods. Rob and CP, keep it fire, misunderstood. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city sand lights to the skyline greens, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. Rob hype on the mic, CP's the fire spark. Together they ignite, voices like the park. Fans drift in jerseys, legacy bold. The Metropolitan story forever told. Turnstile spinning, the crowd floods the gates. This is family, no time for debates. Crack of the Batman, the roar never fades. Queens in the blood, it's how champions are made. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city stand lights to the skyline gleams, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. 7-line swagger, vibes electric and wild. Mets legacy golden since I was a child. Orange crushed skies, let the battle ignite. We ride for the home team till the last fight.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the Amazing Mets Pregame Show right here on the channel and on X. And once again, I am talking to you after a Mets loss. That is number 8 in a row for the New York Mets. 8 losses in a row, on the verge of another possible sweep of the hands of the Texas Rangers. And yesterday was another example of how the Mets find ways to lose. Now, it's basically been the same thing for the last, what was it about? I would say this whole losing streak where the offense has been struggling, no doubt. But again, there is no offense that's going to consistently score 7 runs per game all the time. Eventually, they're going to start going through a little bit of struggles, which means low-scoring games, which the Mets don't win anymore. So, once again, everybody's to blame once again. There's really nobody to, obviously it's not Sproat's fault. I mean, we'll get into that in a little bit, but it's not Sproat's fault. He did a hell of a job. He put up zeros. He left the game with a lead. But we come back to a situation where, as I talked about many times on this show, the New York Mets are allergic to winning low-scoring games. 1-run games, 2-run games, doesn't matter. If they're low scoring, the New York Mets don't win. That's a problem. As I said it before, and I'll say it again, the offense is not going to score 7 runs per game consistently. This is the reason why the New York Mets are not going on any type of, even a small winning streak of like 4 games in a row. Because you can't consistently score 7, 8, 9 runs per game and consistently win consecutively. It's very, very hard to do. It's very hard to do. That's why when I keep on saying that the pitching needs to step up in these type of games like yesterday. There is no reason why we should have lost that game. All right, you wanted to give up a run. All right, that can happen. But you blown another lead. Like everybody, they only scored 2 runs. This offense sucks. The offense for a month and a half was the best offense in baseball. But you can't consistently score 5, 6, 7, 8 runs per game. It never happens. Find me an offense that has done that for more than a month, that has done it the whole season. It just does not happen. That's why the best offenses in baseball score between 5 and 6 runs per game. That is what happens. And the Mets, all right, over the last 8 games are probably scoring a little above 3 per game. But at the same time, the Mets, again, have to score 5 runs per game at least to win ball games. And this is the problem, right? It all should have worked out in our favor yesterday, even when they took out Sproat after 6 innings, right? I was okay. Actually, no, I wasn't. I was a little shocked that Sproat was taken out of the game. But what Mendoza said after the game pissed me off at first, and I know it pissed off a lot of people. And during that moment when Sproat came out of the game, he was mowing everybody down. He was dominating in the game. everybody was pissed off as well. People didn't understand it. Mendoza said after the game that his miles per hour, his velocity was down a few miles an hour, and that was where they were worried. Now, this has happened in the minor leagues where he's dropped off in velocity. Now, at times, but again, it's the minor leagues, they kept him in an extra inning. And a lot of times it worked out. But again, this is the major leagues. When you have a drop off in velocity like that, you're basically bad in practice. Now, we don't know that. We're never going to know. It's going to be a what-if factor. It's going to be a what-if factor. But we also have to understand that a drop-off from velocity, and again, I had to check that really quick, because when Mendoza said that, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, the guy, and he did get hit a little bit in his last inning, but I was like, you know what? Let me check. Go back to the last inning, and his velocity was 2 to 3, almost, and one pitch was 4 miles an hour less than his normal velocity. So that's a big jump. That is a big jump. Even though it's 70 pitches, it was a big jump. A jump down. So I understand the logic. But there is nobody better that you're going to bring from the bullpen than what Brandon Sproat was doing. I would have rather the kid go out the next inning and give him one more inning, even with the lack of velocity. If he gets into trouble, okay. I mean, again, people would have blamed Mendoza for leaving him in, and that's just how it goes when you're a manager. So I would have left him in, but again, here's the problem. The guys that come in can't hold leads. That's the problem. No matter what the name is, no matter what happens, right? You brought in Raleigh, all right, did his job, gave up one hit, problem solved, good. And then Tyler Rogers comes in, gives up 1 earned run, ultimately gives up overall 2 runs. There's your problem right there. There is your problem right there, Mets fans. That is the problem. This is the problem that I continue to talk about, that is worrisome, that is concerning, and that's my biggest problem. The New York Mets can't win 1-run, 2-run, low-scoring games. They just can't do it. No, the pitching does not allow it. And the way you go back, look at the Giants, right? Everybody's talking about Drew Gilbert when they were on that 10-game winning streak and, playing outstanding. Did anybody look at their pitching and what they were doing? They were winning high-scoring games. They were winning low-scoring games. They were winning close games. They were winning all of them. That is how you have winning streaks. You get a couple of really good pitch games where you win 2-1, 3-2. Then you win a high-scoring game where pitching wasn't good, 9-8. And then sometimes you blow out a team. That's how you go on winning streaks. Winning streaks also happen because you score 8 runs a game and you're beating teams 8-3, 8-2, 8-1, 9-1. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. This is the fault of the pitching. If anybody thought that this offense was going to consistently score 7 runs a game, you're a moron. I love that word now. It's a great word to use for a lot of Met fans that don't pay attention to what is actually going on. And they claim they know baseball, yet they bitch and moan about the wrong things. They bitch and moan about the wrong things. Look, would I want the offense to score 7 runs per game? Absolutely. For the whole year, yes. But no team does it. That's why the pitching has to come through at times like this. We even got an insurance run from the Juan Soto home run late in the game. It was 1-0. All right, that didn't feel good. That didn't feel really good at all. A bloop and a blast, and you lose it. Juan Soto gave you an extra insurance run. It was 2-0. All you had to do was complete a game for a couple of innings. That's it. This is the problem. This is the problem. And you know what? Even if we find our way miraculously into this playoffs, because clearly we're getting more help than we deserve, because the Mets ain't helping themselves. How are you going to win a game where for 4 months now, this team has found ways to lose every game that they're either ahead and they got a 2-run lead, 1-run lead, and they're leading late in the game, or they're down 1, or it's a tie game, and you trust any of these pitchers to hold leads, to keep it tied, to keep it to a 1-run deficit, 2-run deficit? No. This is the problem. And again, can things take off and turn in our favor? Sure, absolutely. It's baseball. Right? The Giants were dead and buried. All of a sudden, they're right behind us, a half a game out. Only for a few hours, percentage-wise, the Giants were in a playoff spot and the Mets weren't for the first time this year. But it was only a few hours. The Mets got help yesterday for a couple of teams, and we're back in a half game, and it's basically, a half game in front of the Giants with 13 to play including today. Dolo, stop talking about Drew Gilbert. The dude's batting .230. Like, stop it. See, this is the problem. And Dolo, you're one of them. You're acting like one of them, and usually you're not like this. Go look at the numbers from their pitching staff, bullpen and starters. They started to play better because they started pitching better, not because their offense, who was actually very good. Their offense was fine. It wasn't the best in the league, but they were more than good enough. They were losing games because of their pitching. But Dolo, but it's not just Gilbert. It's just happenstance with that. Then why didn't McClain or Sproat rejuvenize the team for the Mets? Right? Drew Gilbert's not doing great. He's fine, but let's not act like the Giants' pitching hasn't been outstanding during this stretch. Look at the numbers. I know you probably don't want to do that because you're only fixated on Drew Gilbert. Drew Gilbert, listen, Dolo, because I know you don't listen sometimes. Listen to me. Drew Gilbert could not fit on this team. Don't tell me center field, because he has not played center field in a while. When the Mets first got him, he played center field. He's been a corner outfield ever since he's come back from injury last year. He's been a corner outfielder. Where does he play now? Dolo, you can roll your eyes all you want. You can, but I'm right. Where is Drew Gilbert playing? You want to sit Juan Soto to play Drew Gilbert? Would that make you happy? Probably, because people hate Juan Soto. Even though he's the only player other than Barry Bonds to do what he's done with the New York Mets. The Mets wish they had a player like that anytime in their career, in their history. Yeah, and you know what? They gave him. Yeah, Patrick, clubhouse vibes mean a lot too. But when the Mets were 21 games or 20 plus games over 500, nobody was talking about clubhouse vibes, right? This is the problem. All of a sudden, when you lose, and this goes for every team. What about the Giants when they were basically dead and buried? And how was their clubhouse vibes? How was that working out? It wasn't working out too well, right? They were bitching and moaning how much money they gave Willie Adames before he came alive. And by the way, it's more about Willie Adames than Drew Gilbert. Do you see the numbers he's put up in the second half? The pitcher for the Giants took a big step. You know what? I'm more mad about Jose Butto than I am about Drew Gilbert, because Jose Butto was actually on this team, not Drew Gilbert. And I don't know why everybody's like, oh, Drew Gilbert, look at the spark plug. What was Drew Gilbert going to do for this team? When the Giants brought him up was a couple days after the deadline. Did you see the Mets numbers offensively after the deadline? It was one of the best in baseball. So what was Drew Gilbert going to do to help this team? Even if you threw him in center field. What was he going to do? What was going to be the difference? Because they were getting 2-out hits. They had a 400 average with runners in scoring position over this month in like 10 days. They were doing great offensively. So what was Drew Gilbert really going to do? Not much more than what the offense was already doing. And again, he's played corner outfield. Where is he playing? You want to sit Juan Soto? Sit Juan Soto. Let's see how that goes. You want to sit Brandon Nimmo? You know what? Some people might be in favor of that. But you're not sitting Brandon Nimmo, who's making $26 million a year. You're just not. Sorry. The same reason why Minaya is going to get another start, because he's making too much damn money. Right? We don't like that. But that's the fact. And I told you that about a week ago, that was going to happen. And if you all think that Sean Minaya is not going to make a start in the playoffs if the Mets find their way in it, You're rudely mistaken. Sean Manaea is going to pitch one of them 3 games. I'm telling you that right now. Probably the second game. Why? Because that's what the Mets do. This is David Stearns in a nutshell. Everybody wants to bleed. Everybody wants to bow down and kiss his feet. You go do that because I'm not. I don't care what ESPN that never shows any baseball, right? They have hundreds of shows, but none of them are about baseball. They talk baseball for about 5 minutes. And Major League Baseball always goes to the hottest team. And the Giants were one of those teams. And of course they're going to use Drew Gilbert, but I guarantee what they're not going to do. They're not going to put up the numbers of their pitching, which Drew Gilbert doesn't do, because the biggest fault of the Mets isn't their offense. It's been the pitching for 4 months. That's how bad it's been. When you have more than 46 guys who started for the New York Mets, or 46 pitchers in general that has been on this roster, and not many of them have been injured. It's all about guys being optioned and this and that, and all David Stearns does. Because, again, David Stearns acts like he's working when he's not actually working. It looks like it on paper, but he's really not working. So that's what you think it is. Like, it's just nonsense. Drew Gilbert is not going to impact this team more than an actual better pitcher. Like, let's stop about this. Like, let's stop. And Dola, I agree with you. Mullins has been terrible. I agree with that. I agree. But again, with Mullins, they were still the best team in baseball offensively for a month and a half, for a month and 10 days, 30 days, 35 days. With Mullins in the lineup, out of the lineup, in the lineup, out of the lineup. So this is the problem. Like, Gilbert wasn't projecting from the Mets, and obviously for the Giants as well, to be a center fielder anymore. For whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't watch minor league baseball every day to find that out. But I do know one thing. Jet Williams was playing center field all the time. A lot of the time. Drew Gilbert was a corner outfielder. So again, where is Drew Gilbert fitting on his team? That's the problem. And you know what? Drew Gilbert got passed up by Ryan Clifford and Jet Williams as depth chart outfielders in their system. So I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And you know what? June 13th, he might be a leader in the making. He might be. But again, here's the problem. People only look at one thing, why the Giants. Because, Drew Gilbert is batting .600. He has 20 home runs. He has 46 RBIs in 10 games. Right? Because that's what everybody wants to see. Everybody talks about. But again, does anybody look at the other numbers from the Giants? Just give me pitching numbers. Bullpen has been better. Starting pitching has been outstanding. That's why. Their offense was fine. Did Drew Gilbert help that? Sure. Of course they did. And I agree with committee. I thought Budo would help more. Because he could have been that Swiss Army knife of, hey, the Mets need an arm in a rotation. Great, put him in the rotation. And obviously he could have helped the bullpen. But that's it. So Drew Gilbert gives me the Nick Swisher vibes. Great. Nick Swisher wasn't that good. You see his postseason numbers? Terrible. And look, Drew Gilbert could be a spark plug. But again, nobody wants to look at the other numbers of the San Francisco Giants. It's so annoying that nobody actually wants to do their homework. You only care about Drew Gilbert, who wasn't going to help this Mets team. He's a corner outfielder with 2 corner outfields you gave long-term deals to. Like, that's it. That's the problem. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, everybody act like he was playing center field every single day for the Mets minor league team. He wasn't. He was a corner outfielder who got passed up by Ryan Clifford and Jet Williams on the depth charts of outfielders. Well, Dolo, you could say the Giants are going to steamroll past us, but you know what? They're doing a very good job of not steamrolling past us. That's for sure. As good as they've been, and they've been on a hot streak. That hot streak comes to an end rather quickly. It always does. So they got I think they have 14 games left. They might have 13 games left. But they've been on a hot streak get to this point. There's probably gonna be a cold streak. And I'm not saying they're gonna lose like 6-7 in a row, but they might lose a series against the Dodgers, which might help the Mets and benefit the Mets. They play the Dodgers more, and that's a battle. Yeah, Budo did get a bomb last night. He did. So the Mets got a little help today. Listen, the Mets, again, we're back in a situation. Again, we were only out of the playoffs for a couple of hours yesterday. We're back in the playoffs. The Mets win today. We don't got a scoreboard to watch. You can watch football and enjoy football. And hopefully the Mets win. They break their 8-game losing streak. They salvage the series against the Rangers, and then they bring San Diego to town, who, oh, by the way, are just right in front of us by 5 games. Not saying they're going to get up to them or anything like that, but this is crucial. They just got to win. And Rock, I agree with you. When will that coach streak? I don't know. But you know what? It starts with winning today. You win today, you guarantee yourself being in the playoffs tomorrow. And hey, maybe if you get a little bit more luck, a couple of more teams lose behind you, specifically the Giants. If the Giants lose, now you're a game and a half up. And it's technically 2 games because if they got to tie us, or it's a game and a half, but if they tie us, great. We win. We get the work. You know, everybody acts like last year, like this team was so hot last year, the New York Mets. Yet we had the tiebreaker against the Diamondbacks, and we had to wait until the final game of the season or the final 2 games of the season to determine us making the playoffs. And even that, with the team that everybody loved, they were on the verge of losing. We all saw that first game in Atlanta. But that's it. David, we hope not. We hope it don't get any worse. It's hard to get any worse. But you know what's worse than an 8-game losing streak? A 9-game losing streak. That's where it is. Yeah, Boogie, but again, Mullins is a center fielder. Drew Gilbert is not. And yeah, Siri and Mauricio, again, if you want to talk about that, then talk about David Stern's roster construction. That's on David Stern's. But again, Drew Gilbert was not helping this team. Like, where is he playing? Don't tell me center field, because he has not played center field. Like, that's the point. That's the problem. Like, if there was a glaring hole in a spot where Drew Gilbert could have helped this team, I'm all on board. I would be arguing with you about that stupid trade. But we can't do anything about that because he did not have a spot on this team. Again, Ron and Mauricio don't have a spot on this team. Luis Acuna doesn't have a spot on this team. But hey, I digress. This is the problem. Like, this is the issue. But I just don't listen. Yeah, committee, do you really think that's a good sign? Because the same people who complained about Soto looking like he doesn't care, that he's smiling all the time, he's ha-haing in the dugout and all that nonsense, yet he's 40-30, 40 home runs, 30 stolen bases, probably close to 35, 36 when the season's end. And now people care that he's frustrated. What is that going to do? He's frustrated. Great. I don't think him being mad or happy is going to change what he does at the plate. And to think that anybody is going to, and there will be people killing Juan Soto, he's the one carrying this team. He is the one. Right? You know, when Alonso's swinging that nonsense and Nimmo is just doing Nimmo things and Lindor is looking lost, who is the guy that is stepping up in September? It is Juan Soto. He's been their best player for 2 months. Well, a month and a half, and most of September. Yeah, but Dolo, it doesn't matter. Did you enjoy that solo shot yesterday when they gave him the insurance run? Like, we act like a solo home run doesn't matter. Right, Dolo? You were the same one who was talking about solo home runs last year about Pete Alonso, who hit the majority of his home runs that were solo. Like, let's not act like solo home runs don't matter. Like, let's not act like it didn't matter. Like, yesterday mattered. Do all of them matter? No. But again, Juan Soto can't help also that people don't get on base in front of him. What is he supposed to do there? Tell the umpires, hold on. Lindor, can you get on first, please? Before I hit this bomb to right field? No. Like, this is the problem. Like, you can't always control the situation. And again, Juan Soto hasn't hit a couple of 2-run homers. Fine, he finally hit a huge home, more than a 3-run homer, 2-run homer. Great, wonderful. But we also got to understand that it also takes people in front of him as well to get on base. And that has also been a big problem. So, I don't know. Like, I don't know what you see. This is the problem with Met fans. Like, you're never happy. But I guarantee you, if Pete Alonso was hitting 40 home runs and had 30 stolen bases and basically carrying a team for August and September, which Pete Alonso never does, by the way. Never does. Everybody would be going goo goo gaga for him and basically kissing his ass. This is the problem. This is why Nimmo's still here, because Met fans clamored for the Mets to re-sign Brandon Nimmo because they couldn't have nobody else. This is the problem. Same thing goes for Pete Alonso. Again, if you're going to lose sleep over Pete Alonso not being back on his team next year, because I find it very hard to believe, guys. And again, that's another conversation for another day, but I ain't going to lose sleep over it. I really am not. I think this core needs to be changed. I think it's the same old ever since all these guys have been together. It's been losing, choking. I'm sick of it. You got to make changes. It's got to happen. And unfortunately, Pete Alonso did not sign that extension a couple of years ago when the Mets offered it to him. That's on Pete Alonso. He could have been a long-term Met. If he wanted to, he could have took that deal. And some could have said, oh, well, he thought he could get more. Yeah, but okay, that's fine. Then don't bitch and moan when somebody else gives him more money. Because I don't think the Mets need to give him more money. I think you overrated the player for years, and you act like he's an MVP candidate when he never is. Because he constantly falls apart in August and September. He's one of the biggest culprits of go back to 2022. Not very good months in 2022 in August, September. Go back to 2023. Terrible. Yes, last year. We all know his outcome last year. Until the playoffs, most Met fans finally were done with him. He hits that home run, all of a sudden he's beloved again. Like, we got to stop. Angel, I agree. I 100% agree. And you know what? Pete Alonso should be thanking his lucky stars, the numbers that he has, especially the RBIs, because Juan Soto's on base almost every time he gets on when Pete Alonso's up. You know, Juan Soto has MVP type numbers this year. And it's not just home runs and RBIs. I mean, home runs and stolen bases. You know, even his average is creeping up to the 270s, which is, a little less than what his career average is. His on base is outstanding. His slugging's outstanding. His OPS is outstanding. His runs are outstanding. Yeah, explosive. 4 choke job. But you know what? I don't want to hear about it's Lindor. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because Lindor played like an MVP last year. Lindor is not having as good a season as he did last year. I'll give you that. But isn't this Pete Alonso's team? Right? All of a sudden, it's not Pete Alonso's team, right? When the Mets are losing, don't blame Pete Alonso. It's not his team. The face of the franchise, right? Everybody, yay, home run history, Mets, yay. But when we're losing, no, don't mess with Pete Alonso. This is the Pete Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil team. This is exactly what it is. Until these guys are gone, or at least most of them, it's still their team. So don't throw this is this guy's team now, when all of a sudden it was always Alonso's team. It's always Pete Alonso was the face. Pete Alonso's the face. He still is the face. So if Pete Alonso is the face of his team, Pete Alonso deserves all the credit, all the blame, right? Isn't that fair? I think it's fair. Until Pete Alonso's gone, and then the next one comes up, and is probably going to be Lindor, who's going to be the face, because a leader and the face of the team are two different things, clearly. The face of this team is the New York Mets. Of the New York Mets is Pete Alonso. The leader is supposed to be Francisco Lindor. Okay, so I don't know what it is. But I do know one thing. Ever since 2019, this team has had a McNeil, Nimmo, and Pete Alonso presence on this in this organization. And guess what? They lose, and lose some more. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you. The fact that, and again, you don't hang on for your dear life to make the playoffs with a payroll and expectations like you have this year, and make it's everybody's fault, right? This is a team effort of losing, right? We can all individually pick what guys deserve more than others. Again, I blame a clump of guys, and it's mostly pitching. I've said it from March, and I'm going to say it until the end of the year, regardless if the Mets make the playoffs or not. This pitching, as I said in March, it's going to be the downfall of the New York Mets, and it's starting to look like that more and more. And it's probably going to be the same conversation because I don't think they're changing this in 13 days. And oh, by the way, I know everybody can't wait, but Kodai Senga is pitching another game in the minor leagues. So he might not be back until, which is, this is so David Stearns. Kodai Senga is going to pitch probably sometime next week. And he might be back for one more start, this is going to be so good. This is going to put the fucking icing on the cake. Kodai Senga is probably going to pitch in the last series of the year in Miami against the Marlins. That's when they're going to bring him back. Bookmark it. I said it here. It's what time is it? I don't even know what time is it. It is 12:39 on a Sunday on September 14th. Mark my words. Book it. Kodai Senga is going to make another start in the minors, and he's going to be ready to go, and they're going to plan this that he's going to pitch a game in that Marlins series when we all know that Marlins series is probably going to determine if we're going to make the playoffs. So, Mets fans, your ace is here. He's coming, right? Don't hide behind those bricks now. Don't hide behind that wall now. There was a lot of us, a lot of Mets fans that thought Kodai Senga is an ace. That's it. Can't wait. I cannot wait. I can't wait. It is absolutely annoying. 288 is pretty damn good. Considering where he was batting under 200, it's pretty damn good. That's nearly a 90-point difference from what he was the first couple of months of the season. So that's a huge jump. And again, you don't have 1 month of a hot month and get that average up 90 points. We're runners in scoring position. That takes months. So from April and May, which he was really bad, when June came around, he started to trickle up here. So that's pretty good considering what he was. See, again, you can't just give a stat and act like he wasn't batting 195, 190. We're runners in scoring position. That's a 90-point jump. That's a huge jump in 3 months. So it's pretty good. And again, when everybody's, again, this is what I talk about. When people only bring up the stats, they don't look at the backstory and look what it was before. But again, wasn't Pete Alonso hitting well over 400? We're runners in scoring position. What is it now? I haven't checked it, but I guarantee you it's probably in the low 300s. And everybody can be like, oh, that's so good. Yeah, but when you were batting 420, we're runners in scoring position, and you drop 100 points, that's a huge gap. That's a huge drop. Same thing with Juan Soto when it comes to batting under 200 and now batting 288 with runners in scoring position. That's a big jump. So, and that goes for Brandon Nimmo. That goes for Francisco Lindor. So, man, I tell you. Well, explosive. I'm not even going to say Lindor is a loser because I don't even think that's fair. If it wasn't for Lindor, we would never make the playoffs last year. I mean, that's a fact. That is a fact. I don't think he's having the best season this year. But again, people always want to bring up Pete Alonso's numbers. Look at Lindor's numbers. They're not that bad. He's going to have 30 home runs, right? I think he's probably going to have about 95 RBIs. He's going to bat 260, 270. I mean, he's going to be there. He's going to be the numbers that is perfectly fine. Yeah, exactly. Pete was now batting 317. I thought it was about the low 300s. So go back to a couple of months ago. Wasn't he batting well over 400? That's nearly a 100-point drop. That is a huge drop in a couple of months. The same way it's a huge gain in a couple of months with Juan Soto. So listen. Yeah, the errors on Lindor are crazy. I mean, if he catches that ball, you might win the ball game in the ninth, right? You might win. Now, again, I think the problem with Diaz, and I think Diaz is probably the culprit here in this game, but with Diaz, we all know why when Diaz is really good, is when he pitches more often. The Mets haven't given him the chance to do that because they're constantly losing. They never have. If they're winning, they might be winning big. So there's never really time to use him in big spots. So when was the last time he pitched in Cincinnati? So it's like he was going to be wild, and we knew it right away. When he came in the eighth inning and he, wild pitch and he was just all over the place. You're like, it's a problem. Right away with Diaz. It's very rare that he finds it within an inning. It's rare. He usually just, if he's on, he'll be pinpointing his spots, around the plate, or he's completely off the plate. There's never a moment in between, and he fixes himself in the inning. It's very rare. Well, Rock, that's another good sign as well, right? Lindor mostly been in the leadoff all year. 30 home runs, nearly 100 RBIs in a leadoff spot. That's actually pretty good. If a guy hits 30 home runs and 100 RBIs as a number 3, and you look at the numbers, you're like, he could have been better. But as a leadoff spot, pretty good. And yeah, Beatty is being punished for the pickoff, especially that was rough yesterday. That is, there's no argument. There's no excuse for what he did there. You got to slide back. Even if you think you'd be safe by a mile, slide back. Like, that could have been an inning where we gained an extra run, and that Juan Soto home run would have made it 3-0. And maybe we would have won the game. But again, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the comments, guys. Well, Todd, Beatty actually has been hitting lefties pretty well. So this is the problem that I have with matchups. If you're going to do matchups, be consistently about matchups. Mendoza, who was very consistent last year with matchups, it was rare he played the hot hand. It was usually matchups, regardless. And me and Chris always got on him about that. It was annoying. But Mendoza this year has been playing the hot hand and matchups whenever he sees fit. And I don't like that. Listen, look at the lineup, right? Again, I don't want to see Jeff McNeil back in center field. If anybody wants to see Jeff McNeil in center field, he cost us the game. McNeil cost us the game. You got to catch that ball in center field. You can't misjudge a ball. And I said it a couple of months ago when they said Jeff McNeil's going to play center field. I go, there's going to be a game where Jeff McNeil's going to make a huge mistake in center field, and it's going to cost us the game. Not saying that was the ultimate end-all be-all costing us the game, but that was huge. Or maybe Soto was the player you thought he was hitting in front of Judge. Well, he's proved that he only Judge behind him to hit 40 home runs, bat in 288 runners in scoring position, 30 stolen bases, OPS high, on-base high, walks high, slugging, runs. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. You could say that more guys probably, and the more guys probably need Juan Soto before Juan Soto needs somebody else. It's the 40 home runs is a new concept for Juan Soto. This is something that he hasn't done in his entire career except for the last 2 seasons. So this is a new concept for Juan Soto. No, I'm not gonna just go out there and say I necessarily like it. I'd rather him be a 285 hitter and hit 5 to 6 home runs less. But he is. We all forget that he's 26 years old. He's in his prime, so he could be. He might be a guy developing into a 35, 40 home run guy, and the average might take a little bit of a dip like it did this year. And strikeouts are going to go up when you try to hit more home runs. Have you watched him, Mo? Like that's what's crazy. Yeah, Todd, I understand that. But everybody always wants offense. And then they neglect the defense until it actually costs them. And again, once again, this is Met fans. Met fans want, how many times have we come on shows and I hear people saying Jeff McNeil should be in center field. Jeff McNeil should be in center field. Because of what? More offense? Oh, okay. But the defense actually matters. Defense probably cost us the game yesterday if Lindor didn't make that catch. If he made that catch, maybe the game would have been different. Jeff McNeil misreading that ball kept that inning alive. It kept the Phillies going through their, merry-go-round on the base paths. That was a huge misplay. Now, I'm not saying that Mullins, Siri, or Tyrone Taylor wouldn't have misplayed it too. But I think we all believe that they probably would have not made that misplay. Again, everybody misjudges the ball. But it just so happens that McNeil did it. A guy who is out of position. I'm sick and tired of playing guys out of position. It's stupid. Just to get a little bit more offense in there, I think it's the dumbest thing ever. And too many people, and you hear Gary Keith and Ron say it too, that, they're going to try to get offense, so that's why. So you're screwing your defense just for a little bit more offense. But if defense costs you, that's the only time people care. That's annoying. Like, I don't want Jeff McNeil in center field. He's a second baseman. Please. Now, he's been more than serviceable in center field. A lot better than I thought. But when you don't play center field every day and you're not an outfielder, or at least a center fielder, you're going to have difficulties in some areas. And I think judging balls, if you ever notice how Jeff McNeil goes back on balls, he's kind of hesitant. He gets to a lot of them, but he's hesitant. And reading the ball was the misfortune of that play. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? Everybody wanted an offense, so live in your bed, right? And that was when the Mets, yes, needed offense, but I'd rather have defense. In a situation, that was the game where the Phillies came back when the Mets had a big lead. That's a situation where Jeff McNeil shouldn't even been playing center field at that point. He should have been either in second base or wherever, or out of the game, and put a real center fielder out there. So I just don't understand. But with an 8-game losing streak and a little help yesterday, the Mets still find themselves in a playoff spot, half a game up on the Giants. Win today, you're still in the playoffs with 12 to play tomorrow. And the San Diego Padres coming to town. The lineup today is Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo, Vientos, McNeil, Marte, Mullins, and Alvarez with Nolan McClain on the mound. Again, if the pitchers pitch well, that's great. But can we please hold a lead? I don't care if it's a 1-run lead. Hold a lead. This has been such a problem for this New York Mets team, holding leads, that it's outright embarrassing at this point. It's outright embarrassing. This team is so goddamn allergic to winning close games, especially close, low-scoring games. It is, I guarantee you, I would love to look at the numbers. We're probably in the bottom third of games. And I think it's the last 14 one-run games, the Mets were 11-14 prior to yesterday. That's a joke. You lose 11 out of 14 games of one-run deficits, one-run games. That's a joke. And Keith by very might will be. And the Mets have 26 blown saves. I mean, even 4 of those out of those 26, if they were saved, we're 4 games up right now where we're probably a lot more happier with 13 to play. So, committee, would that shock you at all? Nothing's going right for us, right? We have a 2-0 lead. It looking like it's pretty good. The pitching was doing well, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, bam, the Mets are losing 3-2. It's like, and then what are we, 0-61 this year? Losing after 8 innings? 8 innings or 8th and 9th inning, after the 8th inning. I mean, it would be nice if they would have came back yesterday and finally get their first win trailing after 8 innings. That would have been nice, but of course that won't happen, at least yesterday. But, guys, we got another game today. The Mets are only 3 games over 500. With the help of yesterday, still a half game up on the Giants. We also have the tiebreaker. I guess that helps a little bit. But let's get it done. And, James, yeah, they're solo home runs. I agree with you. But I don't want to hear people with that argument when Pete Alonso did that last year and people bitched and moaned that Pete Alonso, oh, you would love to have those numbers if the guy's name wasn't Pete Alonso. So, again, if you're not going to have that argument about Pete Alonso last year, then I don't want to hear that argument about Juan Soto. But we all know how that goes. Homegrown over signed guy, everybody's going to lean towards the homegrown guy, even though it's the same problem. And again, this is why when I say you got to break down the numbers, I agree with you. Yeah, 34 solo home runs. You know, it would be nice if more of those were 2 or 3 run homers. That would be lovely. But you also have to say that Juan Soto has been their best player in the month of August and through September so far. So he's been their best player. And you know what? When it comes down to crunch time, guess who stepped up yet again? It ain't Pete Alonso. It ain't Brandon Nimmo. And right now it's not Lindor. It is Juan Soto. If Juan Soto wasn't putting up the numbers doing it, how many more games do we have lost this year in these last month and a half? A lot. So with that said, guys, I will be doing a post game today. You get a little Mets baseball, get a lot of football. I will be doing a post game after the game. Sorry about yesterday. I was going to do a post game, but I had connection issues. It was insane. I don't know what that was going on yesterday, but I couldn't get any connection. It was annoying. But right now it's looking good. Wi-Fi is good. Connection is good so far. You never know. But with that said, guys, I'll see you on the post-game show. Hopefully we're talking about a goddamn Mets win. And we get to do a little bit of a post-game reaction and preview of the San Diego Padres series. So thank you for tuning into the Amazing Mets pregame show right here on the channel and on X, guys. I'll see you later today. Hopefully spamming those W's in the chat for a Mets victory on the post-game show. Let's go, Mets, guys. Enjoy the game and enjoy your football Sunday, guys. Let's go, Mets.
Seven train rumble, headed to the field. Orange and blue vibes, the energy revealed. Brooklyn to Queens, repping both hoods. Rob and CP, keep it fire, misunderstood. Hear 'em all loud.